Jesus tells us to take his yoke, for his burden is light. I do have a yoke. I couldn't resist getting this one from Lithuania. It's from the 18th century, and I found it on eBay, and it's beautiful with the etching in the wood. I do use it to feed my chickens. I guess in a way I'm channeling my inner Tasha Tudor. Tasha was a children's book illustrator who lived in the 20th century, but she lived her life as if she was in the 19th century, dressing as if it was the 1800s and cooking over an open fire, and she too had a yoke. And the great thing is about Tasha is that she lived in Brattleboro, Vermont, not far from me at all. But when I put the yoke on my back and I feel the weight, I think about Jesus' words. And when he says, take his yoke upon us, he means to follow him, to really take on his will. I think the greatest burden that we carry is the burden of self. We get in our own way. German mystic Meister Eckhart once wrote that the more we think about who we are, all the time that we spend thinking about our lives and trying to define our lives, we miss out who God really is. I have to tell you, I am in this strange place right now because I'm back into the real world where I have to travel, I have to fly, and I had my suitcase packed with all my business clothes and my handbag and my briefcase and my shoes, and very professional, right? And I enjoyed that. I loved that. But then I could not wait to get home to Old Stonewell Farm, to this house that was built in the 1700s. I couldn't wait to get and sleep on my rope bed. I will tell you, my rope bed from the 18th century, I think it is way more comfortable than any luxury hotel room bed. Couldn't wait to see my chickens and, of course, my Bernese Mountain Dog and my husband. I couldn't wait to get back to what gives me joy. And that is wearing my little country dresses and my aprons, lighting candles, collecting the eggs. I really do like both worlds. And it is difficult living in both worlds. It's hard. And I find myself wondering many times, who am I? And for the longest time, it got me very tired. It got me overwhelmed because I was going in so many different directions, and there's just so many different sides to my personality and so many things that I've been juggling. And I would admit for the past 3 years, I've been feeling very anxious about it. But recently, for about the last 3 months, I have found incredible peace. And it has lasted, and I wanted to share it with you. I realized when I was running on the trail behind my home, which I've been doing since COVID, and I've been religious about it every day. And a lot of times my run was very stressful. I was thinking about everything that I had to do, and I would find myself walking faster and hurrying and not paying attention to the beauty that was all around me. I got to this place where I recognized how I was feeling anxious. I recognized how I was making myself rush throughout life. And then I remembered the passage from Isaiah in which it basically says, and I'm paraphrasing, that it basically says, do not be afraid. I go before you. God goes before us, and God will make a way for us. So if you walk through the fires, you will not burn. If you come to the waters, you will not drown. be not afraid, I go before you. Longest time I've been anxious and running around when I stopped and I recognized that anxiousness. And then I had a visual in my head. I would stop myself from being very stressed out with everything I needed to do. And I just imagined God going before me, making a way for me. So every time that I find myself rushing or my list of things to do gets longer and longer, every time I feel like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, I don't have enough time for this, I stop. I realize that I need to give God the room in my life to go on before me. When we fill our days with so many things to do, we're not giving the Holy Spirit wiggle room. That used to be one of my favorite things I always said early on in my career as a minister. Let's give the Holy Spirit some wiggle room. It's not all about us and what we can do and what we can accomplish. So for these past few months, I would have to say 3 months now, I have this peace. I have this peace in me that I have not felt in a long time. This peace that I realize has been missing in my life, and it has returned and it has stayed. Still afraid that one morning I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be all stressed out again. But the thing is, I'm mindful about my busyness. I am mindful about when my heart starts to race very quickly and I put all these pressures on me to perform and to be worthy. I've been stopping myself from feeling that. And I stop myself and I take a step back and I imagine, okay, when I stop, when I'm not rushing ahead, that means I'm allowing God, the room in my life, to go on ahead of me and make a way. I want you to try this. I want you to stop. First of all, recognize when you're feeling anxious. Recognize it, stop, and then imagine as you are stopping, as you are ceasing all activity, that means you are allowing God to work in your life. You are allowing God to go on before you, to make a way on your path, to clear out all the overgrowth and the rubbish, to protect you, to guide you. And that's what we all need. The work will get done. My father always used to say to me when I was taking on too much, he always reminded me, just do what you can for the day that you have, and that is enough. This morning, when I was on my run and I was coming back to the farm, I had that moment where I started to feel anxious and I stopped. And all of a sudden, as the breeze began to blow, that's what I heard. I heard a very strong message. You are enough. All that I have, all the ideas and talent or whatever it might be, or whatever I'm doing in this life, my existence, I am enough. Why am I striving for more, to be better, to be smarter, to be whatever it is? I mean, it's great to strive. It's great to improve ourselves. But when it gets to the point of overtaking your life, when it gets to the point in which it's unhealthy, then there's a problem there. We have to remember we are enough. Just need to know that I don't need to fill up my day with all these tasks. I don't need to cross off accomplishments. I just need to take a step back, plan my day, have an idea in my head what I need to get done. But after I do that, hand it over to God. Take a step back and take a moment and remember God is always going before us, making a way. I hope that you find the peace that I have found, knowing that when you give God room to make a way for you. All will be well. You enjoyed your time together here at this 18th century farm in Vermont. Subscribe, share with friends. It's always a joy to be here. And remember, there's plenty of room at the old farm table. Until the next time we gather together.